Previously on the Ultimate Career. And it is lights out and away we go here. We have got 29 laps ahead of us here at the Valencia Street Circuit, and they are in uniform order. The top three are probably only separated by a few tenths, and now on lap 19 we're joining in on the action here into the right hand hairpin. We're going to dive it down the inside of Sebastian Vettel. We're going to hold it there. Is he going to hold it around the outside? No, he doesn't. We're up into P2 and we go a little bit deep into there, and we've lost the front wing. We've just got a little bit too greedy, and we just can't catch a break. We come around the final corner in P10, but of course that means nothing because we have got a 20-second time penalty. And well, just look at that, P12 with a broken front wing and a 20-second time penalty. That isn't too bad whatsoever, but what could have been? What's up guys, and welcome back to the F1 Ultimate Career today. We are here for part number 38, it's season 3, it's the British Grand Prix. We're here at our home race today. Now, it's been a difficult last couple of races with 2 non-points finishes in Canada and at Valencia. But today we are back at a track which has treated us reasonably well over the last 2 seasons. We took a victory back in 2010. That was in fact our 3rd victory on the bounce. And then in 2011 last year, we lost that on a podium on the final lap, but we showed that we had the pace that year by actually taking the fastest lap. Hopefully this year will also treat us well. And if we could hit 150 likes in this video, that would be absolutely superb. I'll try and smash out Germany as soon as possible. Without further ado, let's get in to qualifying. So then, qualifying was about to get underway for the British Grand Prix, and here you can see, coming around the final corner, slightly overcast up ahead, but there you can see we easily make it through Q1 with Jean-Eric Vergne and the usual suspects eliminated. And Q2 was also reasonably easy. Here you can see it's coming across the line in P2. We actually got through in P6. There you can see our teammate eliminated in P12. Also, Kimi Raikkonen surprisingly eliminated in 16th, with Paul di Resta down in 14th in his home race. But this is where it counts. It's Q3. It's still pretty overcast overhead, looking as if it may rain, so we actually get out there right at the start of the session. Here you can see banging in purple sectors 1 and 2, and coming towards the end of the lap, is it going to be enough? Vettel setting the fastest lap with a 1:32.534. We do a 5:36. We are 1/100th. That actually says 2 100ths there behind Vettel. So close to pole position, but boys, it is a front row start for our home Grand Prix. One of the best qualifying we've had all season. I believe we're still yet to take a pole position this season. I remember getting on the front row in Bahrain for sure and getting a good start there. So hopefully we can replicate that at the start of our home race. So a pretty good start to the weekend. The question is, can we replicate it in the race? Let's find out. So then, here we are ready for our home Grand Prix, revving up to the 5 red lights on the front row of the grid. We've got an 80% chance of rain in today's race, but it is now lights out and away we go. And now we're concentrating fully on the start, going into turn 1 right behind Sebastian Vettel. And Alonso pokes his nose down the inside. We're down into P3. So a good start has turned into a bad start, losing a position off the grid, but now going around the outside of Fernando Alonso, hooking it up around the village complex, now into the loop. Going to stick it down the inside, not quite clip the apex, but we do manage to claim the inside. Now coming through Aintree, going to try and get a good exit using Kers. We have to duck around the outside of Sebastian Vettel. We're in fact back to using our wheel in this race, so that was very necessary, let's say, for that little sweep around the outside of Vettel. We're up into the lead of our home Grand Prix, and well, we're only midway through lap 1 and already we've lost a position, gained it back, and then gained the lead of this race. So an action-packed start to the race using the rest of our Kers through lap 1, and now coming towards the sort of halfway point through the lap, through the old turn 1 at Copse. Taking it in 4th gear at the start of the race, of course, heavy fuel, a 50% race ahead of us. But most interestingly, as I mentioned at the start of the race, we've got an 80% chance of rain during today's race. So I believe around the end of lap 1, our engineer came over and said that the rain is expected in around 10 minutes time, so it should be coming reasonably quickly. And now you can see we've built up around a half a second lead over Sebastian Vettel as now we come towards the end of the lap through Stowe and towards the final complex of Vale and Club. And this is a really, really good section of track. You know, Stowe, a really quick corner, and then into Vale and Club. Two very technical corners, now you can see. Going flat through the final corner, shifting up to 4th gear, and now at the end of lap 1 we've got a 7/10 of a second lead. And here we're just going to get a quick replay of the start. There you can see the amount of wheel spin that Vettel got off the line. And, well, Alonso just comes out of nowhere down our inside. He got a superb start. It's like the good old days of Fernando Alonso's starts. And I believe momentarily we were actually down into P4, and Webber in fact passed us as well. But we just managed to hook it round the outside of Fernando Alonso and then claim the inside line for the important loop corner, which really sets you up for the rest of the straight. But here you can see, anyway, going on to lap 4, and we really have got the pace in this race to be able to take the victory. So the setup was working well in these conditions. Whether it's going to work well when the rain inevitably comes is another matter. But there you can see smashing in the fastest lap of the race. And on lap 6 now, it is heavy with rain, so we're going to consider putting some intermediate tyres on pretty soon. And as I said, the rain was going to be coming pretty quickly at the start of the race. We elected to go for one more lap, but now you can see how much understeer we've got, and then a snap of oversteer. So maybe we should have come into the pit lane to put the intermediate tyres on, but there you can see on the minimap that is Webber and Button both off the track. So we are somehow managing to control this car 7 seconds down on our previous lap time. So I think we have definitely made a mistake not coming into the pit lane. And now we lock our brakes going into Brooklands, and we've done a 180-degree spin and we are into the gravel. But luckily we've managed to build up such a lead over Webber, who's also having troubles, but now he's going to try and take the lead of this race off us. We in fact had an 11-second lead, which we've completely blown. And now as we come into Luffield and Woodcut, we just can't turn in. This car is not turning in, and Webber just slots it down the inside. And there you can see he's struggling, and he's coming across the track. He's gone into us. We've made a collision with Mark Webber. Our front wing is completely off. And this is just utter carnage on lap 7 of the British Grand Prix. If you look on the mini-map, there are cars everywhere, and they can't pass because they just can't get any traction with these option tyres. So Webber is, well, he's still ahead of us, but he's struggling along. Jenson Button, who's got a full front wing, wasn't even able to pass us. Webber, I believe, has also lost his front wing and has been coming to cops. And now coming up to a section which is reliant on aerodynamic downforce. And, well, Button's just completely gone. I have no idea what the AI are playing at, but we're just going to get a replay. And that may allow me to take a quick breather so you guys can take a look at what has gone on. But it all starts with this 180-degree spin that we do. And, well, that just shows that the conditions really aren't up to scratch. And we managed to rejoin the track just about ahead of Mark Webber, who then takes advantage of our misfortunes by slipping it down the inside. And, well, he realises that there's no grip, smashes into us. And there you can see both cars are, in fact, airbound momentarily. But it is just complete carnage at this stage. So, the only good thing that may have come from this is that I think the track is now getting so wet that it might not even be ready for intermediate tyres. It may in fact be ready for the full wet tyres, so we may have just about saved ourselves a stop. But I think the amount of time that we've lost, we probably could have done an extra pit stop in. There you can see that Webber also lost his front wing, and behind is Jenson Button with a full front wing, who also just cannot deal with these conditions. And there you can see him spinning off the track. But anyway, end of lap 7, and there you can see how much time we've lost. We've nearly lost a minute. So that is a hell of a lot of time. We're still 13 seconds ahead of Sebastian Vettel, so that just shows that we're somehow managing to deal with these conditions better than the other drivers. But anyway, coming into the pit lane at the end of lap 7, and we are going to fit the full wet tyres. You can see Paul di Resta, who started in P14, is up into P3, and now he's down to P5, so he must have made a mistake. And it is just complete carnage at this stage. I mean, there's so many races that we've had this season that have produced really fantastic races. And that's part of the reason why I love this game so much, is that you really don't know what to expect from both the weather conditions and the AI. For me, F1 2012 really did probably have the best weather system in it, and it's really proving itself in this race, which is really good for myself and also for you guys. But anyway, rejoining with the full wet tyres, and now we'll be able to know whether this is in fact the correct choice or whether we should have gone onto the inters. No, we do manage to turn in quite nicely there, so I think it is the right decision to go onto the full wets. And now we've just got to try and build a bit of a gap. Obviously, we had a 13-second gap to Vettel, and now the rest is back up into P2. So we're doing decent lap times at the moment, 1:44.4 that time round. There you can see the gap midway through lap 11 is 54 seconds. So we're about half a lap ahead of anybody else. We've lapped everyone up to about P12, and now coming towards the end of lap 15. I'm just going to take you guys on a full wet lap of Silverstone. So coming through Abbey in 5th gear around 145 miles an hour minimum speed for flying through Farm Curve and down into the village section. So coming now into turn 3, clipping that inside apex. The track's starting to dry out, and this is where we're really able to push the limits as we come through the loop at turn 4. Shifting up through the gears pretty quickly and using most of our curves now as we come through Aintree, using all of the track and a little bit more on the exit and the run down to the end of the first sector. Still with a 54-second lead over the rest of the field. Still got half a bar of curves as we come into Brooklands and then into Luffield, which we take a slightly wider line into before ducking back underneath and getting a good exit off here through Woodcut now and towards the old start-finish straight. The pit lane, which is still used, I believe, for the MotoGP at this circuit, and now coming to one of my favourite corners on the track at Copse, taking it in 4th gear in the wet, trying to use as much curb as possible on the exit, but we don't manage to do so that time. And now the famous Maggots and Beckett section, taking it in 5th gear, shifting down to 4th for Beckett's, and now as we come into the final section at Chapel, using the curb on the exit and running it out wide to the end of the 2nd sector, now on the Hanger Straight, and coming towards the final complex of corners in Sector 3, Stowe, which is a fantastic corner. Minimum speed of around 110 miles an hour at that time round, and using again all of the track possible as we come into Vale and then Club. The final section of corners, which really has a nice sort of, I guess not a nice flow to it, but just a really nice feel to it as we come around the final corner and we do a 1:42.8, which was in fact our best lap on these wet tyres, and you can see that the conditions were sort of starting to dry out at that point. And by the end of lap 18, it is time to get rid of these wet tyres and go on to the intermediate tyres. We've now got a 1-minute lead over Mark Webber, so I was just loving the conditions at that point, which is why I thought I'd probably show you guys a full lap of the circuit, because yeah, I was just really enjoying driving on the wet tyres. I believe F1 2012 is probably the most rewarding game in the wet. I mean, when you get it right, you really do get it right, and it really does reward you. But anyway, coming on to the intermediate tyres, I was sort of sad to see those full wets go, because, like I say, I was just in the groove. I was really concentrating and really enjoying it. But anyway, we've still got 8 laps to go in this Grand Prix, so we've still got a race to win. And the track was sort of drying out at a really weird, really strange rate, because, you know, as you can see off the racing line, it is still absolutely sodden, but on the racing line, it was really starting to dry out. So, anyway, end of lap 22, it was once again time for another stop. This time, it was for the option tyres, because you'll be able to see on the pit exit just how strange the track was looking. It was reminiscent of Canada 2011, the real-life race, not in the Ultimate Career, as in the race which Jenson Button won. And as you can see, when we come back onto the track, the racing line is completely dry, but the rest of the track is absolutely sodden. So we had to make sure that we stayed right on the racing line, or else we're just going to go gliding off into the distance. And anyway, we've got a 1-minute lead still, and we've just got to try and keep it on the dry line. It's pretty easy for the AI to do that, but for myself, it really wasn't easy to do so. And at the end of lap 22, you can see we just veer off the racing line, and that is exactly what happens. We go onto the wet line and we just completely veer off the track, so that's going to lose us quite a bit of time. And coming towards the final complex of corners, once again we just get a wheel on the wet stuff, and we're just completely thrown out for this whole complex of corners. So we've really got to make sure to nurse this car home in the final 4 laps, and now skipping 3 laps from home. Once again, we're just veering slightly onto the wet line. We're just completely taken off the track and into the gravel. You know, the car just can't deal with it. We're on option tyres. They're still not fully up to temperature. And, well, most drivers were struggling in the wet conditions. I'm struggling in the dry conditions, but still, 1 lap left to go. I still believe we've got around the 40-second lead, so not too much to worry about. I was trying to sort of push the limits because I really wanted to win this race by more than a minute, but when I realised that I couldn't do that, then I sort of toned it down a little bit. But anyway, we're now coming towards the final complex of corners, and for the second time in 3 seasons, I'm going to win for a British team at the British Grand Prix. What a victory. We're back on the top step of the podium. It's been a while, but finally we're back there. For the second time this season, we have won a Grand Prix in 2012. Our teammate, no points for him this afternoon, but there you can see on the top step of the podium ahead of Felipe Massa, who went all the way from P11 up to P2, and Sebastian Vettel making up the final step of the podium. Mark Webber, in fact, was in P2 with 1 lap to go, and he must have done something similar to what I did and got onto the wet line, because he went all the way down into P4. Shout out to Paul di Resta, who also managed to get a decent points finish in P5. There you can see 4 drivers disqualified, so I'm not quite sure what happened there, if it was towards the start of the race. And there you can see that we are topping the Drivers' Championship now somehow by 6 points. But it's been a crazy season, just like the real life 2012 season. But it's very, very, very close between the top sort of 6 drivers. I mean, the top 6 are only separated by just over a race win, so it's all shaping up for a fantastic second half of the season. There you can see Williams in P4 in the Constructors' Championship. Currently McLaren Mercedes leading the way. Used to Mercedes leading the way, which is probably why I said that. But nonetheless, it's been a fantastic British Grand Prix, an absolutely crazy one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then do make sure to leave a like down below. Comment on what you thought, and if you're happy to see the Ultimate Career back, then do make sure to tell me down below. But there you can see we are celebrating on the top step of the podium. Make sure to join me for the German Grand Prix at Hockenheim this time next week. But for now, hope you guys are having a great day, and if you're not, make sure to have one. I'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.